they're the masters of fake news. They're the masters of propaganda. The ISPR has just had a press conference filled with lies. Their minister went on CNN, and when he was making some wild allegation about Indian jets, the anchor asked him, "How do you know?" And he said, "It's all on social media." I mean, he had no answer. He made a laughing stock of himself on international media. What I'm suggesting is not at all that we have done anything but target the terror bases. I am saying this panic, these blasts that we see in Lahore, they could be the handiwork of Pakistan's own deep state. We don't know. We need some explanation as to what is happening. We have no idea.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wouldn't put it beyond the Pakistan Army's crookery that they indulge in off and on. I quite it is quite possible, and it is quite possible that something from their own side is being they're indulging in that just to prove their own superiority, that they are able to protect their own population. You know, the fact is that their image has been hurt. Pakistan Army has image has been hurt. If you recall, there was one person in Bhavalpur when the rocket attack took place. He said, "कि हमारी फौजें कहाँ हैं?" So the fact is that their image has been hit, and they might indulge in something of this nature only to be able to rebuild their image. That is quite possible.
Exactly. That's the point I was trying to make. That ये उन्होंने खुद ही किया होगा to try and manipulate public opinion at a time when they're accused by their own people of being weak or of being missing. Now, General Malik, I want to turn our attention back to Operation Sindoor and what might happen next. The images you see on your screen, these are videos that have been released by the Indian Army, images of how terror bases, very precise missile attacks, tri-service operation for the first time since 1971. What do you think happens now? You know, we know the details: 24 missile strikes, 9 terror bases, Lashkar and Jaish headquarters. Hafiz Saeed and Masood Azhar, the heads of these terror outfits, probably taken into protection earlier by the Pakistan military. Pakistan is currently responding by shelling massively at the line of control, especially in the Poonch region, where, and this is obviously deliberate by them, where the population is Hindu. And I'm sure this is a factor for them as well. My question to you is, if we bring up some of the terrible images we've seen at the Poonch shelling, line of control, 4 children among the 13 civilians who've been killed, what is your sense? What might happen next? How will the escalatory ladder be calibrated now?
Let me first mention to you the factors which are involved in their future action, Pakistan Army's future action. Number one, there is absolutely no doubt that the image of the Pakistan Army has been hurt. Although we have not targeted any of the Pakistani Army establishments or camps, but by taking on the terrorist camps and they are not being able to defend them and not being able to protect them, there is absolutely no doubt that their public image has been hit. Number two, the Indus Water Treaty. This is the first time we have held that in abeyance. And a lot of people, including many strategists, have been saying that this Indus River is absolutely there. It's one of the red lines, so to say. And if we cross that, then they will hit back. And even the Prime Minister has been making that statement, and other ministers have also been saying that our effort to stop water into the Indus River and the other 2 rivers would mean a state of war. The third aspect that we have to keep in mention, I believe that the Pakistani Prime Minister has already thrown the ball into the court of General Munir, when he said that I have told the armed forces to carry out action whatever they think fit. So now, under these circumstances, I believe that Pakistan Army will have to do something. They have already started it along the line of control, in which unfortunately we have lost some civilian lives in Punch, particularly, including some children. But this can escalate more in the area of Jammu and Kashmir, not only along the line of control, but also along the international boundary, which is there between Jammu and in Kathua area. We call it international boundary. So some kind of escalation can be expected. Some kind of skirmishes along the line of control can also be expected, and also some raids also can be expected. The aerial raids also can be expected, but I don't think they would try to go deep into it, because that will again require and will call for retaliation, from strong retaliation from our side.
Am I interpreting you correctly in your reading that the theater of conflict, according to you, will remain Jammu and Kashmir? That Pakistan, bruised by the attack on Murid Ke Lashkar headquarters or Bahawalpur Jaish headquarters, will not try, in your understanding, or will not dare to try opening up conflict on another front, on another border, let's say with Punjab, Rajasthan, Gujarat. You believe that whatever their so-called response will be to Operation Sindoor will be confined to the IB and the LOC in J&K.
Yes, that is right. More likely that way. Although I would not rule out totally small arms fire here and there, even along the international border, but much less likely. I don't think they would try anything major along the international border.
So, General Malik, let's talk a little bit about what
But
happens
having
next.
just one second.
Yeah,
But having said
yeah.
that, it doesn't mean that we need not be alert. We need not be alert. We have to remain alert, and we have to be prepared to take our own action that we have in our contingency plans.
Yes. So your reading is that after Operation Sindoor, you believe that whatever Pakistan has to do will be confined to the LOC or the international border in Jammu and Kashmir, and we're seeing that manifestation already with heavy shelling, artillery shelling, by the way, returning to the LOC and to the IB for the first time, I think, since 2003, when the ceasefire was drawn up. So we've seen arty fire back. My question to you is, do you then believe that India, having done what it needed to, shown our capacity, shown our strategic resolve, Pakistan doesn't have too many options because there are terror bases to hit inside Pakistan. There are no bases that Pakistan can justify hitting in India.
Uh, while there are no terror bases in India, because we don't indulge in terrorism,
Exactly.
but there are civilian targets which they can hit. You know, our
Hmm.
civilian assets, our bridges, our dams. Uh, these are vulnerable targets from the aerial attacks. So that kind of an activity in J&K also should not be ruled out. And
But hmm.
they are vulnerable, and even if we have some ground protection, but the aerial strikes on them cannot be ruled out, and we have to be quite active in the defense, air defense of those targets.
But General Malik, if there were to be a Pakistani aerial attack on a bridge, let's say near the international border in the Jammu region, or a dam that is linked to the Indus Water project, the treaty now suspended, would that not be a high escalation by Pakistan, leading India then to respond again? It will not end if they target a bridge or a dam.
Most certainly. Most certainly, that would be an escalation from their side, and it will require a slightly higher escalation from our side. You know, I must explain to you, uh, with the kind of forces that we have, I believe that we have escalation dominance on them, and they
Hmm.
should know it. And therefore, it is possible for this to carry out escalation control because we have that dominance. Now,
mm,
we have made it very clear on the ground that we do not want to do anything more. We have made
mm.
it very clear diplomatically and very strongly so that we are not interested in further escalation. But if they want to carry out any escalatory, they want to climb up as on the escalatory ladder, we will also climb that up. And ultimately, because of our superior power, and ultimately because of the kind of dominance that we have, escalation dominance that we have, uh, I think they will have to give it up sooner or later.
So you do not see this, expanding either into new theaters of conflict or into an extended, limited war. You do not believe Pakistan has that capacity.
Yes, I do not believe that Pakistan has the capacity to prolong either a limited war or other than what they are doing already. Incidentally, proxy war is already there. So they can be slightly more intense, but they don't have the capacity to have a protracted, limited war, and definitely not a conventional war.
Now, their asymmetric warfare has always used terrorism. And therefore, one of the dangers for India is a possibility of another terror attack. But I would say that Pakistan would not do that right now because the world is watching it and they can't own a terror attack. They need to do something that they can own so they have a face saving exit from this situation where, Munir, who's already beleaguered, gets a face saver. I want you to talk a little bit about Asim Munir, and you have studied, you have fought the Pakistan army, famously defeating them in Kargil. What is your reading of Asim Munir? What is your reading of him?
He's a different kind of general than we had seen generals in the past, including Pervez Musharraf. Now, firstly, he is, as I mentioned earlier, also a more radicalized Islamist than anyone else that I have seen. Uh, that is one aspect. Secondly, he is a very strong believer in two nation theory and keeps stating that Hindus and Muslims are two different societies, nothing to do with each other, and Hindus remain kafirs as far as he is concerned. So, with that kind of mindset, with the kind of position that he has got into in that with that chair, wanting an extension, formal extension, if I can use that word, because extension he can do it himself, but formal extension from the political authority. And as you mentioned quite rightly, having got himself beleaguered within Pakistan, uh, I would not rule out an escalatory ladder climbing by him. And that is why again and again I am saying that we have to remain prepared for that, and we have to remain alert on that. But another factor which is not in his favor, I believe, is that they do not have the kind of coordination among the three services that we have in India. I'm talking of the Army, Navy, and Air Force. And during Kargil War also, it was quite noticeable that neither the Air Force nor the Navy, Pakistani Navy, were willing to follow uh, General Pervez Musharraf's line. And that is one other aspect which is not in his favor. But then I would call him an unpredictable person, and despite all these handicaps, uh, in terms of power handicaps with us, he might still indulge in something or the other, only to uh, make sure that his image is not adversely affected.